welcome to the Black Sunday Tape, Things That Go Bump in the Night, episode 21. Hope everyone's having an amazing week. How you doing, Chris?
Well, I just spilt a load of water on myself.
Oh, well, that's a good start.
I think, before we come in there, we had this countdown to start recording, and I thought, right, before he starts recording, I'm going to quickly undo this bottle of water. And I did that thing where you're gripping it too tightly, you pull the lid off, and it just went everywhere.
It's gone everywhere. What a great start.
Yeah,
I've done that before. I normally, before we sit down to record, I normally sit down with a cup of coffee, and I've done that a few times where I'm like, right, I'll get in a cheeky sip now before I intro, and then it just bloody goes everywhere, doesn't it? But yeah, one absolute nightmare. Right, so a little bit of horror news to jump into. I'm actually looking forward to getting your thoughts on a few things that I sent over. So let's jump into the first topic. I don't know if you knew, we did hear a little bit ago that there was a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre film coming.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't too sure, is it a prequel? Is it a sequel to what version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? We now have confirmation from the producer that the next Texas Chainsaw Massacre film is a sequel, a direct sequel to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre that will follow Old Man Leatherface. Now, for those of you out there that are fans of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, you may be saying, well, hold on a minute. We already had that film. And yes, we did. You are right. The 2013 film, I believe it was, was meant to be a direct sequel to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. But apparently that's been completely wrote off, and they're doing this again. Your thoughts, sir?
I mean, as a franchise, I really like it.
Yes.
I believe I've seen most of them, and I haven't seen one that I didn't like. The latter ones, or the reboots and sequels that they did kind of between, I think, like 2017 and 2000, they kind of bleed into each other for me.
Yeah,
bleed being the operative word. But I still enjoy them. I still really enjoy them. And I know like purists will say, yeah, it's not as good as the original. Well, that's fine. I still enjoy them. I find them good, fun films. So when seeing that there's going to be this one again, I'm fine with that. I like the characters. What I was most interested in though was two things. Is that they're going back to an original style of filmmaking with practical effects, no CGI on none of that nonsense, and being produced by the guy who did the Evil Dead reboot, which again I mean that was brutal. That was really,
and that was all practical.
Yeah, it was so violent, and it makes you remember that the actual original Evil Dead was very serious. It didn't have like the comedy element. And the other thing is the one of the original writers of Texas Chainsaw Massacre is producing as well, which I think is a big bonus to the project as well. I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
I agree. I completely agree. As and some of you listening out there might know, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my favorite modern day horror film. I say modern day because I split classic horror and modern horror between about 1965. So anything before 1965 to me is classic horror. Anything after, and we could get into that, but it's to do with like the way films are made and the stories and stuff like that. But yeah, of that modern era for me, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my favorite. I think it's incredible from the feel of it, how raw it is, how into that world you go, and it just feels dirty, for lack of a better word, and it genuinely feels scary. There is something terrifying about that world you live in. So it's very, very welcoming that they have announced that not only is this a sequel to the direct film, but it will follow those ideas. It is all practical effects. It's even being shot with old stock camera film, which I love. I love that it's going to have that look, have that hopefully 1970s look about it. I love that idea. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I feel like with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, it's almost best that you don't really try and pay attention to what order they go in because it's all over the place.
Yeah,
a little bit like the that's the joke that's always been made about the Fox X-Men films. It's like,
Yeah,
what bloody order do they go in? You've got the originals, then you've got the prequel stuff, the First Class stuff, then you've got the Wolverine stuff, then you've got the Deadpool stuff, and like none of it makes sense.
no,
It's all completely out of
and
focus. I feel like,
I read today Disney are rebooting it again.
oh yeah, definitely, that's on the way, mate. That is definitely on the way. That's the spin-off of WandaVision. That's where they hinted at that heavily in WandaVision, didn't they? So that's where they're going with that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I can't say I'm not. This is one I'm definitely looking forward to, and yeah, I just hope that they do deliver on that raw 1970s feel. It's
Yeah.
like they've said, all in camera, all the effects are in camera. They're going with that vintage lenses, vintage film. Man, I mean, that's music to my ears. I can't wait
Well,
for that. I really.
one of the things that I really like about it, and obviously all genres of horror have their positives and negatives to them, but one of the strengths of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a bit like with Halloween, the first Halloween anyway, is that it's believable. It could happen. So you could
Yes. Yeah.
think, like Michael Myers, some of the things that happen to him are a bit of a stretch, but there's nothing supernatural there. And the same with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which has the added bonus of, although not being a true story, elements of it are based on true events.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree. And I feel like that's what's so good about the original because it captured the time it was made in.
Yeah, yeah,
When I said a little bit ago about my idea of classic horror versus modern horror for me become real life, right?
yeah.
You got a little bit of in the late 60s, but it really, really took off in the 70s because it was about real horror that happens all around us. So, you got the real video nasty stuff of Last House on the Left and I Spit on Your Grave. And then Texas Chainsaw Massacre falls into that, right? Because it's got that kind of Vietnam style horror about it. It's
Yep.
about like kind of going out into the unknown and just kind of this world that's been left behind, and it's really visceral and really in your face. And yeah, I love that. I love the idea. So if they can
And to
capture that,
and to us, what is a vintage look? At the time it came out, it would have been very of the time. It would have been
yes,
like,
yeah,
yeah, you could have been watching it and you could have been thinking, I live near a house like that, or I could walk
yeah,
down a street like that, or I
yeah,
know people like that.
yeah. That's something that I put down to modern horror was this idea of moving away from purpose built sets, real heavy lighting rigs, and then going more Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is
Mm,
a dirty old mansion, boiling hot weather. It looks like it smells because it did. You're just shooting with natural light in some instances. It's real. It's as
mm,
real as it, the story around it is fake, but everything else within it is real.
mm,
It's, that house was real. The rotting animal, dead animals and stuff like that, and the skin that they used in the house and stuff like that. That was, some of that was made and some of it was real. And if
mm,
you find any one that was on the set that talks about it and stuff, they say it was 100-degree weather and it was horrible. It was a
mm,
horrible shoot because it stunk. It was just so uncomfortable and that. But you feel that, right? It,
mm.
it
Oh yeah.
it feels like that. You can see the sweat on the actors. You can see, and it's not fake. There's something real about it. So I don't think we're going to get that level of, because I think you'd probably get in trouble if you treated people like that today. But
Yeah.
I hope we tap into a little bit of that with this. Yeah. So I'm looking
I,
forward to it.
I think the guy who produced Evil Dead. I mean, he could do wonders with it. So
Oh, I agree. I
as
agree.
long as if they go down that route again, then it should be very, very good.
All right, dude. Moving on. So a little bit of news drop that I'm quite excited about it, if I'm honest. So Showtime have ordered a pilot episode of Let the Right One In,
Mm.
which is the Swedish novel and film, and then was later turned into the American remake, Let Me In. Have you seen the Swedish film or the
Yeah,
American
yeah.
remake?
I've seen both of them.
Yeah.
Love them both. I think they're
Yes.
great films.
Oh,
And
incredible. Yeah.
when I saw this title, I thought, ugh, because I thought, they're going to take the film and turn it into a series. But it sounds like it's its own entity that they're
Yeah.
springboarding off of the book and the films.
Yeah.
So that's really good to hear. Yeah, I think really loved the films and really interested to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I am. I completely agree. I think I've always thought that there's more from that story. It's such a unique story in a way because it's following a child, which, like, there's some stuff that's dealt with
Oh
that,
yeah,
but it isn't that often that you'll see, like, and these are proper horror films. And I haven't
yeah.
read the novel, but I imagine it follows the novel quite closely. They're they're not kids horror films.
No, no,
Like,
no.
they're genuine horror films, and they deal in quite adult themes as well. So yeah, I've always thought that's kind of ripe to do a little bit more with. I'm really surprised we never got a sequel to the American Let Me In,
I can't.
because
It's insane that you're saying this to me because I was just thinking when you said you felt there should be more.
yeah,
I was going to say I kind of feel that way, disappointingly so, because
yeah,
the way that, especially as you say, the American one, the way that ends, it just felt like there's more to tell
yeah,
because the two kids obviously care about each other,
yes,
but we know that eventually he's going to
yeah,
outgrow her and
yeah,
be, becomes this weird caretaker dad figure.
yeah,
It would have been good to explore that. Or did she care about him enough to make her like him and they find someone else? Who knows?
yeah. I think there's a lot of there's a what did he say?
He kicked the door open and said, FBI,
I
open up.
thought he did.
Don't
That's
edit that
so
out.
good.
Let's,
No,
let's
I'm
just
going to leave
carry on.
that in. That's staying in. That is
He
brilliant.
also he also called you a punk earlier.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Great kid. Great kid.
He's got some spunk. He
Yeah.
really has. He's got some attitude on him,
Oh,
man.
he's gonna get a clip round the ear in a minute.
I love it. I love it. Talking of talking of outrageous kids with with a bit of attitude. So yeah, back to
That was a nice segue.
yeah, it's not bad, is it, mate? I'm getting better. The Let the Right One In, or Let Me. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I
what they're going to call this actually. If this is going to be Let the Right One In, Let Me In. But yeah, like we were saying, I think that there's definitely a lot more you could do with this. I love what you just said about
yeah.
the idea of you've got that film, and I imagine the TV series is going to be that. It's going to be the book and the story we've seen in the films, and then either that's half of the series or that might even be the full first series. But I'm very, very interested in afterwards. I'm very interested in that continuation, like you just touched on.
Mm,
That weird fucking relationship of, she's always going to be that age.
yeah.
Where does that relationship go as he starts getting older? What does that look like?
Well,
That's going to be interesting.
unless they're misleading us with the
Oh, possibly.
details, it's
Yeah.
actually going to be completely different, but similar. So it actually says the series centers on a father and his 12-year-old daughter whose lives were changed forever 10 years earlier when she was turned into a vampire at the age of 12.
Yeah.
Uh, Perhaps forever. So, perhaps forever is interesting.
Oh, yeah,
And
that is actually.
and
Yeah.
it's also said it's a father. So when I read that first time round, I thought, okay, well, the father figure, but it's very clear, a father, his
Oh,
12-year-old
yeah.
daughter gets turned into a vampire. So, if you go down, you look at the pictures, and I think it could be much more. Do you remember? Did you ever watch the vampire series Van Helsing, where it's
No,
Vanessa
I didn't.
Helsing?
No.
There's part of that where a bit like the governor in The Evil Dead, where a character's daughter has become a vampire, and he knows how horrible it is, and he hates what she's become, but he's still her father, and he
Right.
still looks after her and feeds her, because it says in here he does his best to provide her with the minimum amount of blood she needs to live. So I
Right.
think it's very much going to be uh, in that world, but different kind of relationship dynamic.
I'm very, very interested to see where that goes. And yeah, I mean, the last thing I'll leave it on is if you're interested, yourself, Chris, or anyone else listening, is interested in that story of like an adult take on a kid's vampire story. There's a really, really great film I saw a good few years ago that's actually on Shudder now. It's called The Transfiguration. Go and check it out.
Is this
It's oh
is this? It's not English, is it?
No, it's American. Yeah, it's American,
Transfiguration.
and it's very similar. It's very similar, but it's great fun.
That really rings a bell to
Yeah,
me.
it's really good. It's really, really good. Definitely, if you like, Let the Right One In or Let Me In, go and check it out. I think you'll definitely take something from it without a doubt.
Awesome.
It's stunning, really stunning, and that's on Shudder.
That could be my nightly viewing sorted.
There you go. And talking of Shudder, they have announced a new upcoming series
This
called.
is an amazing sequence of segues. It's almost like we've prepared.
It's almost like we've prepared. It really is. It's almost like I've staggered these stories in such a way. They have announced a new upcoming series called Deadhouse Dark, which tells the story of 6 short horror stories from 6 different directors. Now, I'll include a link to this down below because there is a trailer for it, which I quite like the trailer for it, and I really like the score over it. I really like the song over it. But yeah, dude, what's your thoughts on
I
this?
think
And
it looks brilliant.
yeah,
Really, really
I
brilliant.
know
And
you're a bit of a fan of an anthology,
I
so
do, and I always enjoy uh, the story that ties them together. And I really love how they've got this one bang up to date, and they're using the
yes,
objects in a dark web box to tell
yeah.
the different stories. I think that's excellent. Really, really good
I
idea.
really, really love that. That really, really speaks to me. Years and funny little story. Years and years and years ago, when there was a bit of a trend of like short filmmakers on the festival circuit. I think I had Echoes of the Past on the festival circuit at the time. They were getting picked up for anthology films, and then a few filmmakers to try and basically cheaply deliver their first feature film.
Mm.
They were they were trying to work out ways of basically putting their short films or theirs and a friend's short films into an anthology film, because then you can sell it as a anthology or upload it wherever and maybe make a bit of money. So I started looking into this with my short films and seeing what I was going to do with it. And with my Echoes of the Past producer and the screenwriter of Echoes of the Past, Tony Sands, we come up with an idea. So if you remember back to when we were crowdfunding Echoes of the Past,
Yep.
we actually shot our pitch video in a like charity, like a retro charity shop, like vintage shop.
Hmm.
And when we were in there, I was saying to Tony about this idea, and we kind of got spitballing, and we said, well, what if we filmed a wraparound for my short films, where a basic like a crypt keeper presenter finds an object in this shop that then like leads into one of your films. So for instance, like the person in the shop would find like Hugo, and then that would go into Silently in Your Shadow, and then you would find the music box from Echoes of the Past, and then that would go into Echoes of the Past. So like when I read this about the box from the dark web and then a little object in it that leads into, I was
Mm.
like, oh fucking yeah, that's really like it. Maybe it would have worked then. Maybe it would have worked.
Are you? But you could still do that.
Oh, of course, yeah, of course we could still do it. Yeah, loads of people are doing stuff like that. Yeah, I was actually thinking about the other day to do with Silent Your Shadow, Echoes of the Past, and Black Mass, actually, like all 3 of
Mm.
them, doing a little anthology thing around that. But yeah,
Yeah, man, I love an
yeah,
anthology film.
we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I really like the idea of this. What did you think of the trailer?
Excellent,
Yeah.
really good, really diverse cast. Good to see some older actors in there as well.
Yes. Yeah.
I think the trouble is when you get different directors, you can get ups and downs in the quality of the film. So it then falls to the strength of the overarching story that will tie it together.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, like going away from horror, but four rooms. Quentin Tarantino
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
part of that. Robert Rodriguez, can't remember who the other two
No, I can't
directors
remember who the
were.
other two were.
Had Madonna in it, didn't it? But the wraparound story was excellent. Some of the internal stories were better than others,
Yeah.
but the wraparound story just kept it going. And I think this is such a good idea. If they could pull it off, then it's going to be great. I mean, it looked brilliant. The trailer. I'm not sure I've that's what I make of. There's a bit in quotes on this press release where it says a giant mystery box of chocolates While there's something in there to suit a variety of tastes, in the end,
I
chocolate
thought
is
that
still
too.
chocolate. What does that mean?
I thought that was such a weird.
What does
Like,
that
is that
mean?
some like horror version of Forrest Gump? Like,
I don't know. I read that and I thought, oh, here we go. This is going to be good. I thought I was going to say it's like a giant mystery box,
yeah, I thought that
but
was
which
weird.
one has the orange cream?
Yeah, that was so strange.
It
So
was so
strange.
weird.
Now, there's two things you said actually that I'll touch on actually, just because they really stood out to me. So one of them was the older actors in the trailer, and again, I really like it because me and you have spoke about this before about they're rightfully so. It's such a call for diversity within
Mm,
film and TV at the minute and stuff. But sometimes you see older actors get left out of that.
yeah.
And I that isn't right because that is a big problem in our industry, especially around actresses that, once they're over a certain age, Hollywood kind of deems them irrelevant unless you're Meryl Streep, unless you've got a really big name, it's always who's the, next young actress coming through.
And the thing
So
is,
it's really nice to
it's
see that.
genuinely ridiculous
Oh,
because
it's crazy. It's
horror,
crazy.
more than anything, could be applied to any of our lives at any point.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You
It's
know,
crazy. It doesn't make sense, man. It really doesn't. So I'm very much on board with that. And then the other thing you touched on is there's two types of anthologies. There's the anthology where a little bit like I was just describing, like, like the Crossroad Pictures idea,
hmm
where you've got the setup, but none of the stories are actually connected. They're just like Tales from the Crypt, right? They're just individual stories that are not connected. This isn't that. This is actually described as interconnected horror short films. So not only is the wraparound, your the bit that ties it together, but by the sounds of it, all of these stories are going to bleed into one. So I find that quite interesting that they're all part of the same world. So yeah, man, let's see where it goes. And that is interesting because once you watch a trailer, they don't really look like they're part of the same world. Do you know what I mean? Like some of them are shot found footage, some of them are shot very, they look very classic film like. So yeah, I don't know, man. Let's see where it goes. But I'm
this is
definitely
going to sound terrible, but have the Amazon ones come out yet?
not the new ones. No, I know some of them have finished shooting now.
I thought they were
But
supposed to. I thought they were. I thought they were going to come out in February.
yeah, do you know what? I think you might be right.
Have
I
we just
haven't seen them.
completely missed them?
I haven't seen a podcast. I haven't seen. I watch stuff on my Shudder subscription is through Amazon, so I go on Amazon quite a lot, and they haven't popped up. So I don't know. I don't know if they got pushed back.
Hmm, very strange.
Yeah, yeah. But this is also something that is becoming very popular.
Hmm.
Like this is on Shudder, Amazon, like we've touched on the Blumhouse ones, and they've got more coming. Blumhouse have like deals with fucking everyone. They've got the Hulu one, the feature film deals as well, and then they've got a deal with someone else that they're doing at the minute. So this is becoming very popular. This kind of pre-packaged anthology of either short films or even feature films in the
Yeah,
Amazon
yeah.
Blumhouse. So I reckon we're going to see a lot more of it because it's obviously, I think it's probably a cheaper way to make a decent bit of money and sell a variety of films to a streamer. So yeah, I think we're going to see a little bit more of it. And you
Yeah,
know what? I'm all
completely.
down for it. Yeah, I'm all down for it, man. I quite like it.
And you know what else is becoming really popular?
Go on.
Documentaries.
Good segue. Good fucking segue. We're
This is
killing it today,
it's been
man.
so smooth.
Oh, we are
Apart,
killing it
apart from a
today.
kid bursting in pretending to be the FBI, but you can't win them all.
You can't win them all. I mean, to me, that just adds to it. I mean, we need a little sound like that for every show now. So, getting ready every time we record. But yeah, so great segue, Chris. And that brings us to Sasquatch, the brand new documentary series coming to Hulu next month. So we don't have Hulu in the UK. So
Yeah,
maybe
but
Netflix for us,
I hope so. I hope so.
or possibly Disney Plus via the Stars tab, because Hulu's main investor is Disney, so they could just put it on Stars over here. I don't know how that's going to work, but could do. But anyway, from the Duplass brothers, who make a ton of independent stuff, and they've actually made a they made a documentary series on Netflix titled Evil Genius, which was really, really good. If you haven't seen it, it's fucking insane. Yeah, so this is a 3-part documentary that calls back to a story from 1993 that took place on a pot farm in Northern Carolina, where a journalist was, going there to investigate the pot farm, and then it just turned into this fucking Bigfoot story. So he's now going back and reliving this. What's quite weird about this is when I first heard about this and when I first saw the trailer, I didn't realize this was real. I didn't think this was a real documentary.
No, I didn't.
No, to me, I was like, this is fake, right?
Yeah.
This is fake. But the way people were talking about this and the way the press releases wrote and the fact that they've referenced their other documentary, which is a real documentary, I guess this is completely real.
Apparently it is. It's just that I think the way it was edited, and it was just that first few seconds just made me think, oh, this is a fake documentary. But yeah. I don't think it is. I think it's real.
Yeah. What do you know anything of this story?
Yeah, I'm in two minds about this. I mean, I have a bit of a thing where I feel like a lot of these American documentaries spend so much time recapping, which is a bit of a pet hate of mine. And I hope that isn't, not all of them, so I hope it's not the case with this. What I found most interested in this outside of the paranormal is how it could just as easily be a story about the drug industry, and the story of Bigfoot is a convenient way to keep people out of the way and to make people disappear without too many questions.
I think that's exactly where it's going. I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think that's exactly what this documentary is going to be. It's within this setup, the legend of Bigfoot and the stories of Bigfoot is actually a cover up for people that have gone missing within the kind of wild west of, the pot farming industry. So yeah, I think that's exactly where it's going. I think you're going to find out that that was purely a cover up, or Bigfoot's real. Who knows?
I mean, I think they'll leave it semi-open-ended.
Yeah,
I think they'll deduce that it's very likely that it's murder cover-ups, but that the door's open for other possibilities. It's a tough one for me because in terms of the cryptozoology angle, on the one hand, these vast wooded wilderness in America, you can't really, living in the UK, you can't really get a sense of scale. I mean, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but the state of Georgia is bigger than the UK. So, the size of the place could make you think, well, could these creatures exist there? But then the other part of you thinks, well, with today's technology, surely they would know by now if there was something.
Okay. So with that said, now we've touched on the documentary. There isn't too much to know. I will leave a link below because again, there's a trailer.
The trailer looks great. It
looks really good. So let's go on a little bit of a detour here. Bigfoot, real or not?
I'm very open to the possibility that there could be a missing link, if you like. Somewhere in these wilderness. I think it's more likely to be in like Himalayan regions and Siberia, the vast Russian areas of nothing, rather than America. But that said, like I said, there are huge areas that are densely forested and not many people go. So yeah, I think it's entirely possible. It wouldn't surprise me if someone came out next week and said cast iron evidence. I don't think it would surprise me as if someone said, "Oh, we've got evidence of a ghost, or we've got evidence of alien life."
Yeah, good point.
That would be shocking. But if for me, if someone said they had evidence of this, I would say, yeah, that's quite believable. And I feel like I'm talking myself out of my, wilderness idea, because at the end of the day, they discover new species of life, all the time that have never been discovered.
Yeah, I completely. I believe at one point a version of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, the Yeti, whatever legend you want to jump on. I believe at one point it's very possible it was real. Do I believe it exists within The USA, that's a little bit more skeptical for me, just because, you know, legends and myths have come out of there fucking more than anyone in the last like 100, 200 years, right? They love that stuff. Most UFO stories come out of the USA and stuff like that. So is it possible there? Yeah, it's possible. Of course it is, because like you said, there's just so much untapped wilderness there, but it's a lot more believable 20 years ago. Like now,
Yes.
when everyone's got a HD camera in their pocket and these stories have not really slowed down, yeah, I feel like we would have got something a little bit more concrete than just some rough footage or someone's, you know, dodgy testimonial. I feel like we would have seen something there. But could this exist in, like you said, the Himalayas, up some mountain somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it could. Of course it could. And I feel like that's more likely, because there are parts of the world that are completely untapped that we are yet to really explore. You know, they say that, I was reading something the other day where they say that in terms of space, we know more about space than we do the bottom of our own ocean.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Because there's stuff we can't get there. We literally can't get. We haven't worked out a way to get to some place at the bottom of our ocean. So God knows what's going on down there.
Well,
So yeah,
have you seen the
definitely
Meg?
not. No, no, I
You
haven't.
give the Meg a watch just to hear Jason Statham say, "That's one big fish." But the reason why I brought it up is because it's about the Marianas Trench
Right.
and what's at the bottom,
Yeah.
and what we think is at the bottom isn't, and that's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Sometimes when you hear this stuff, that it's like every year they find thousands and thousands of new species within the ocean that,
Mm.
you know, we had no idea. We had no idea existed. So, you know, and there's certain things that we believed were myth. The one that gets me from like a few years ago is the giant squid.
Mm.
Is that for years and years and years and years and years, hundreds of years, that was a myth, right? That was a mythical creature, the giant squid. And then it was real. It was
Yeah,
real. They, you know, they got video footage of it, and I believe one washed up dead on a
they
beach.
can get extremely big,
Oh
and
yeah,
all right,
yeah,
they might not be quite as big as what people have said in stories.
yeah.
However, if you're on a boat in the middle of the ocean, you're
Oh yeah.
pissed and you're a sailor,
Oh mate, yeah.
it's like any fish story. It's always a bit bigger than it really was.
It's like any story. That's
Yeah.
stories. Stories are always made a little bit bigger than what it is in reality. But yeah, I mean that. So yeah, possibly, right?
The thing that makes me most skeptical about Bigfoot though is like because of its name, it is big. How
Yeah,
many examples of that do you need to sustain a population?
yeah.
Because it can't just be one walking around. Otherwise, it's not walking around for much longer. There has to be enough to sustain a population.
I think that is one of the things that gets me about it. Is like on a really serious note, is nearly every story is a single sighting,
Yeah.
you know, or evidence of what some people believe might be a camp of a single Bigfoot. So and look, that's possible. They could, but there's got to be more than one
Yeah.
within any area, like you said, to sustain life. They can't. No life sustains with one, one creature
Well,
forever.
to me, I have a scale that I like to reference these on. And at one end, you've got the Loch Ness Monster, which I
Yep.
don't believe exists at all. I think
Yep.
it's impossible for it to exist because, one, they would have found it, and two, there would have to be many of them for it to exist.
Yep.
Um, the other end, which until a few years ago was cryptozoology, and I think it's pretty much accepted it is real now, is the beast of Bodmin and the idea of big cats in the West
Oh yeah.
Country of
Yeah.
England. To me, that's a scale of absolutely not to almost definitely is real. And I
Yeah.
put Bigfoot
Yeah.
in the middle of that. I'm open to it, but there's a lot of holes in it for me.
I completely agree. I completely agree. Yeah. Let's see where this documentary goes, and then yeah, it's going to be a good documentary. No, nevertheless, I mean, if you've seen Evil Genius, their Netflix
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
documentary, that's great. That's really really good. So yeah, and the Duplass brothers never do anything bad, in my opinion. They do some incredible work. So yeah, very very much looking forward
Do you
to
think
where they go
that
with it.
they will have a little clip just to give examples of Bigfoot of Harry and the Hendersons?
Oh, it'd be amazing. Yeah, I can't see why not. I can't see why not. But yeah, that would be incredible. I'd love to see that. Definitely. All right, dude. That rounds out the news, which of course means we're coming on to the creepy link of the week. It is a returning favourite again. I think this series, the creepy link of the week, is just going to become this creator at some
Yeah,
point. But why the hell not? Because it's the creepiest stuff out there, right?
yeah.
Go on, sir. Give it an introduction.
Bit of background. It's by a YouTuber called Meat Canyon, and he makes a lot of parodies of life and children's cartoons. Most of them are filthy, but now and again he does something that is genuinely disturbing, and this is one of them. It's a take on Peppa Pig. What did you think?
This is straight up horror movie territory.
Yeah,
Like this is more so than anything else you've sent me. Like you've got all the ones that are like creepy and like, oh, okay, that kind of lends itself a little bit to horror here and there. This
yeah.
is a straight up horror film. This is a straight up horror film. It is.
It's even got a
I,
jump scare.
it has got a jump scare. Yeah, I'm not as aware as Peppa Pig as you probably are because you've got young children.
Yeah, love it.
Obviously, everyone knows a Peppa Pig. Everyone's heard it. Everyone's seen something here or there. I've never watched an episode or anything like so. I'm not as ingrained as it is maybe you are, but I know enough for this to like this
To
was freaky as fuck, man.
that this isn't a normal episode of
No,
Peppa Pig.
no, yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't think this is what's on kids' TV. But yeah, man, this is insane. This is actually one of those episodes where I don't really know how he gets away with this one. Because with a lot of the other stuff, it's like, okay, a lot of that is really raw and really like on the fucking edge of, okay, are you going to get sued?
Hmm.
But some of it is more like classic children's stuff, like the Teletubby stuff or the Looney
Yep,
Tunes stuff, or
yep.
it's not really relevant right now. Peppa Pig's very relevant. So like this is something that I think like kids could be searching for Peppa Pig stuff
Yeah.
and find this. So this is what I'm saying. Like this is something that I'm like, oh shit,
I,
okay,
I I mean, I think that's why he has called it what he has. I can
yes,
count
yeah,
to three.
yeah,
The the three things that I really took away from this was his voice is just insanely creepy. He does all the voices to
it's
all of
very,
his
yeah, it's
cartoons. It's
very
got
very creepy. Yeah,
he could do voices high pitched, and he could do this very low, deep
it's that low one that
voice
fucking
as
gets you.
well.
Yeah,
Just him counting to three throughout is really creepy. I also noticed that there's this low kind of hum throughout as well, which
yeah,
made it really
yeah.
tense. But the thing that is really striking, you might not know this of not having watched it, but all of the characters in Peppa Pig are always side on, and
Oh, okay,
no matter which way they face, they always have both eyes on that side of the face.
right, okay.
So in this, Peppa Pig, who's this demon pig, more than once she's facing face on, and you see that she's got four eyes, two on each side.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, see, that didn't.
Yeah, so
I
that's
just
that's
thought that
why
was
he's
like a
done that.
design from his point.
No,
Yeah, I didn't. That didn't hit me why he had done it. Okay, that makes it even creepier. That makes it even creepier. There's some great. When I say this is straight up horror, man, there's just such a great understanding for like horror techniques in this. Like one of the ones that is a scene under the bed, but then it's when they go out the door, and it's
mm,
just like pitch black outside the door, and you hear him counting to three,
yeah,
and the camera just slowly pushes in.
yeah.
That's such a great horror moment, man.
I also like two more I picked up on was when George is under the bed where he's hiding,
Yeah.
and Pepper goes away, and you hear in the distance like a plate drop and spin. So
Yes.
it gives
Yeah.
she's still there, she's still doing stuff. And the other one I loved was went into the other room as well. You had Daddy Pig was already lying there, so straight away before it even started, you knew that something was very wrong. I mean, you just saw him lying on the floor. There
You
was
did. Yeah.
no kind of build up to it or anything like that.
Yeah, man. It's fucking disturbing as hell. And I think if you've got any kind of reference to Peppa Pig, this is gonna hit you even harder. It really is. But yeah, man, it's something. It's definitely something. He's, like I've always said, he just has such a great understanding of not only parody but horror and sound design as well. Like you touch on it, like with the plate spin, stuff like that, and the low hum throughout. Just the sound design of the whole piece, incredible, man. It's just so, it's really, really well put together.
I've
Really
shown you his Star Wars ones, haven't I?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's I think he's genius. I think he's absolutely
I agree.
genius.
I agree.
And I think that there's a lot of people who do these kind of comedy takes, but he does the horror ones very well.
Yeah, he does. He does. So yeah, let us know what you thought of this, boys and girls, and please leave a comment down below and like the videos. That does help the channel. And actually, the one last thing I'll say before we come off of the creepy link of the week is I like the way it ends with the Instagram Mark Zuckerberg.
Do you know what? I was hoping he was going to say that.
Yeah. I really like that.
You know, the whole thing. He's a guy who is perfectly comfortable in this day and age having a mullet, completely comfortable being overweight, and he makes this very classic looking 70s style infomercial. Hey Mark, don't tread on me. The American flag behind him.
It's so good. I love the bit where he says about the two new t-shirts. He's like, that's to pay daddy's taxes.
Daddy needs to pay his taxes, yes.
And then where he's like, and I love the bit where he's just like gassing with himself, where he's like, come on, like pay some stuff. Do you want me to do this for free, you fucking arseholes? And then he's like, did I just call my fans arseholes?
Oh man, yeah, he's really good. Really good.
He's really good. I really like him. He genuinely seems he genuinely seems like a bunch of fun.
He does these live streams where he just draws characters.
Oh really?
So you'll see him draw characters in a disturbing way, and then a little while later, like a few months later, you'll see them turn up in a cartoon he's done.
Pretty cool.
So I've seen him draw Hey Arnold. He's done that in a cartoon. But there's one that he hasn't used yet, and it's goofy, and it looks disturbing.
Yeah,
it really looks disturbing.
You have to send me it. You have to send me a link to it. I definitely, if you can, if it's still up. But yeah, when it comes, if he makes a short of it, we're definitely doing that one. Definitely.
Awesome.
All right, dude. It's been good. Thank you for joining me again. Thank you so much, everyone out there, for listening. And until next week, boys and girls, stay very, very safe.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.